From this evening, I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home.
Hi, I'm Gabriella, reporting for WORLDwrite. We're here in Dalston in East London to ask the public and our volunteers what they think about lockdown on its 5th year anniversary. Why did we give up our freedom so easily? And was lockdown a huge mistake?
Did the lockdown measures imposed on us constitute an abuse on our freedom?
I'd say so. There's nothing that's ever been like that before, right? They made us scared to go walk the dog. I couldn't see my mates for months on end. If I went outside more than once a day, I could have got arrested. So yeah, I'd say massively.
Was lockdown justified?
It's hard. I understand where they're coming from, and there was a lot of panic, and they didn't really know how to respond at first. But I think as time's gone on, it's been clear that telling people to not socialise outside was probably kind of ridiculous, and stuff like that wasn't really justified at all. But I'm kind of in hindsight, probably not. And also there were other countries that didn't lock down as seriously, like Sweden, and I don't think they had as massively worth death toll or anything. So I don't know. I'd minded to say no.
Well, I come from Sweden, and in Sweden there was no lockdown. We practiced social distancing. But in retrospect, there was not more casualties than any other place.
On your view, was there an abuse on police power?
I don't think I saw anything crazy myself personally, but stuff I saw in the news, there was massive overreach, them watching parks with drones, and they had the people out in their droves in for Peak District and stuff, trying to hunt people down. So I think that's ridiculous. And I also think it feels like the overreach has continued after lockdown a bit, that police are now more willing to step into people's lives, and there's more willingness to clamp down on public gatherings, for example. And also I feel the government and police were quite happy that a lot of nightlife shut down, and they've been able to use it as an excuse to go and shut down more nightclubs and pubs and stuff in replacement with property development. So I feel they're quite happy to clamp down on things that brought people together, and that's definitely continued after the fact.
I was actually working for NHS that time, and for me lockdown was too much, maybe beginning, because nobody knows what's going on, and could be quite dangerous. But then when they find out, as it's not really affecting everybody badly, they shouldn't do lockdown. They should only advise to vulnerable people stay at home and to keep going, all of us, because I live here and I'm in Dalston for 15 years, and I can see many businesses even collapse because of lockdown.
It was really a hard time for my life, because I came here 4 years ago. It was lockdown. I came from Turkey, and as a chef, I'm doing private chef service, and it was really hard because you cannot find the customer for yourself. You need to use social media and internet, and everything is changed after the lockdown.
Because I'm self-employed, so when there was lockdown I couldn't work. So I had to find alternative source of income through working at home on my laptop. I had to find not just one but numerous sources of income to make up for the self-employed job that I had that I couldn't go to due to the lockdown rules. Lockdown took too long, and it took too long for the government to lift it. And the government could have made different rules for people who were on lockdown. For example, if you didn't have COVID and you were on lockdown, they could have made a rule for giving you an NHS pass. So if you needed to go to the store to get essentials and you were stopped by the police, you could have just showed them an NHS COVID-free card.
It's really important when somebody takes away our freedom or gives you a restriction and says it's because of the greater good that we want you to do this. It's really important for people to feel that those rules apply to everybody, not just to you. And the moment they started to be caught breaking their own rules, it was really corrosive of public trust.
We were misguided, misinformed, but I don't think it was a mistake. I do think it was a humanly created disease and a political kind of decision to make it. I mean, the government's made lots of changes to the world that we weren't asked or consulted on. So yeah, it was a kind of a big blip on the history of the world.
I think they were going out once a day early on. I thought that was a bit unfair. I thought, if you wanted to go out for a walk, you should be able to go out for a walk whenever, really.
The lockdown was a dreadful experience. I couldn't go outside whenever I wanted to, even for a walk. It wasn't easy to start socializing again, especially it had an effect on my mental health and the way I see myself. I felt very insecure.
I was in my final year of school, so year 11, so that was pretty hard. Like, we had messed up all our exams and stuff like that.
Kids need to go outside. They need to play. They need to be a kid. I don't know why playgrounds were restricted, at least one kid at a time. I don't know, but at least have them open for children.
I thought lockdown was a very difficult time, especially for me as a young person, and I was going through college. More of my exams were stopped and it felt very uncertain because they said it was 2 weeks, but it turned out to be like a year, and then it went on to like 2 years.
We didn't entirely understand how the virus was spread, and so there was a will to do anything, and people mostly accepted the lockdowns. And I think it's only now, really, 5 years on, that the costs are becoming clear, that we see the long-term impact on children, for example, on schooling, social isolation. But we didn't know that at the time. Would we do the same again now? Would there be the willingness to comply with a compulsory lockdown? I don't think there would.
I think if it happened again, I don't think it would be the right thing to do to lock everyone down. I think I can see why it happened the first time around, because it was like a new thing and we had to have control over people so that they didn't infect older people. But I think if we did it again, we could be a bit more sophisticated about the rules about who has to stay indoors, because I don't think it was necessary for young, healthy people to be kept indoors for that, or like away from people that whole time. I think it was damaging. We went along with what people were saying about nobody can mix, when maybe we should have kind of questioned that thing around, like, it's more important for some people not to mix than everyone not to be able to go out.
It felt like at the time we were doing it for the right reasons, but it also, I think, the isolation added to the sense of fear.
Do you think we give up our freedom too easily?
I'm more concerned about what we are doing with safety for each other than we are necessarily with how much we're giving up. I think there's lots of other ways our security and our sense of freedom is being given up outside of lockdown. In terms of the data we allow, the creativity we allow to dwindle. I think there's a lot of other ways we're giving up power. Lockdown is a symptom of that, perhaps.
I wouldn't have gone out. I don't even think my parents would have allowed me to go out. And other people, do I trust other people? Well, naturally, I think everyone does want to protect their family, right? But it's like they might not really know what they're doing by going outside.
I still think it should be like advisory. People should have, well, I would hope they do. They would have the common sense to keep their distance and not get other people sick, especially if they know that they're going to make other people sick. You shouldn't force people to be in their homes.
Lockdown shouldn't happen ever again. We have to be free, sovereign in our souls and in our bodies. We have to understand that there's a way to heal. And, we are the people. Come on, we are the people.